right. So that was a question on Padlet, just in terms of responding um, back and forth, and I would like you to put your name anytime you write something in Padlet and you don't have an account. And if somebody has figured out how to make an account, please let us know so we can figure that out. But if you haven't, then just put your name in everything you post in Padlet, and then I can give you credit for it.
Is it okay if we take a screenshot of it and send it over via phone?
Perfect. So we're starting week 3. One of the things that did come up, and I do think that's very important to always reiterate, is in the test, there is a test review, and the test is coming up. And if you click in that review, you get all the things I want you to know for the test. I want you to understand, basically, because you don't have to memorize it because it's an open book test. So you can either access this list, or I would do is download it and either print it or have it available on your device that you don't use to do the test, at least iPad, phone, something like that. But make sure every bullet point you see here, you understand what's behind that. And that way, you know, when you take the test, you're going to be prepared, because the test is not more than that stuff on those bullet points. And the test is true, false, multiple choice, 55 questions. I believe I gave you 75 minutes. Yeah, I do. And you have, of course, that's the testing. You have one attempt. So it's the same structure of the quizzes or the questions that we do, but you can only take it one time. So you're already familiar with the format, but make sure you don't, think, oh, we can go back and do it another time. You have to be careful about that part. But it should be all right. Just take your time and go through, check yourselves, and then it will all be all right. Usually students do well in this test, so don't. So I know you all will do well if you've been following along with what we're doing here. Does any questions to that? Yeah? No?
Are we doing the tests in class or at our own home?
No, this test is at home. So when you go into the test, good point. We will do the second test, we will do in a classroom, and possibly part of the third test. But the first test, all the multiple choice stuff we'll do on the computer, because then you can take your time.
No interruption, really.
Huh?
There's some interruption.
Hold on, let me close it out. Hold on, I don't know who that is. Hold on. Sorry. There. All right, I think that's better. Let's see. Sorry about that. Yeah, I know I should make the first. I should make the first person who comes on a co-host. They can help me with that. That wouldn't be not bad idea. Anyway, the question was, I forgot. What was the question?
I just wanted to know if we're taking a test.
In class or not? Yes. So this first test is all at home. So when you go into the test, you can see it will be available. If you do the student views, it's not available yet. It will be available September 6th. So that's Friday, and it will be due on Tuesday next week. So you'll have Friday through Tuesday to take that test. And look at that. I'll give you actually 120 minutes, not 75 minutes. So you should have plenty of time for that. If you have any computer problems or any glitches that way while you're taking the test, sometimes the internet crashes and you can't finish it or so, make sure you reach out. I don't want the technical problems become, the reason why you don't pass a test. That would be silly. We don't want to worry about that. But take your time doing it. You have 120 minutes, and make sure you open book. Check your answers with the test review or with your notes in the booklets that you have. So that way the test becomes sort of the last go around before we can then put that material to rest and go to the next material. Because then after that, as you can see, I opened the skull facial muscles actually. After that, we go into the muscles and to the bones. And then that test we will take in the classroom at that point. Because that's stuff that we touch in the classroom. We have all the models and everything. And so that's when we really get into the meats and potatoes also in the classroom and have that kinesthetic integration with that. But this week, so that makes sense?
Yes, good morning, Professor. And it's Alex.
Good morning. Good.
Hello, good morning. You said there was two parts to the test, one that's online and one that's in class?
No, this test is fully online.
Okay, fully online.
Fully
Okay.
online, yes. The next test will be different. That will be in the classroom. We'll talk about that at that time. How we're going to construct that and all that.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah. Anybody else?
Yes, doctor, if you go to the view, there's a subject at the end that says bones, but it's not included in this test, right?
Oh, the student view?
The test review.
Oh, the test review. The tissues are hardly represented. There's, I think, a couple questions. It's only whatever is in this week's chapters. So this last portion is what you're going to do this week. And then I hardly have any question of this because you're just doing it. And then at the end of this week, you're taking the test, or early next week. Most of you guys will take the test, Monday or so, or Tuesday, depending. And this part is part of the test, but it's very little represented on the test because we're just learning it this week, really. So make sure you go. Make sure you print this. Yeah, I would print this out, or at least download this as a test review. These 4 pages, and then you have all, because then you have a really good summary of what these chapters are as well. Because I try to be congruent with all of that, and not just like ask you random sort of a few pieces of questions. So you should be okay with that.
Okay. Thank you.
And if not, let me know. All right.
I have a question.
Yes.
For some reason, I'm not able to pull this up. Did you send a Zoom link on the actual in the class? Because I'm on my phone and what you showing, I cannot see at all.
And I
didn't get it. I got a link. I came through my phone. For some reason, I'm not able to see it on my actual Chromebook, what you're showing.
Got it. You can't. Can you put in the Zoom ID? Can you start it with a Zoom ID, or you need to have a link?
I need to have a link for this for some reason. Like I said, it's not working on my end. It's like me being in class. I can only hear what you're saying and I cannot see.
Yeah, that was never a problem. I'm sorry, that's never been a problem so far. So I do never.
Okay, so maybe it's me.
No, it's okay. It's okay. I just never had to send out a link, and I have no idea how to send out a link.
Okay.
If anybody knows, let me know. I'm so sorry about that. I am making a recording out of that, but we want to make sure how could I send out a link? I might not be able to do this retroactively while we're starting this already. I'm really sorry about that. If you start the Zoom, can you start the Zoom app? Do you have the Zoom on zoom.com.us? Do you have a Zoom account or no?
I do. I have a Zoom account. I'm gonna just be on my phone.
Okay. Then we'll fix that later. Let's make sure you and I fix that later, and I'll send out a link next time. All right?
Yes, please.
I'll work on that. Yeah, I'll work on that. Sorry about that. I didn't anticipate. I should have, but so any other questions that are in people's mind right now?
Yes, Professor. This test is going to be next week, right? Monday, Tuesday, not today and tomorrow, or?
Test is open Friday, finishing out Tuesday night.
Oh, okay, perfect. Okay,
so you got the whole time to take it.
Okay, thank
Mm-hmm. Anybody else? All right. If not, just interrupt me. You know how that works. I don't know if there's still a background noise. Oh, it's a. Oh, good. There we go. Thank you, Alexander. What I want to just then briefly touch on this week is, well, ask questions. The lectures. We have a few more lectures, and then questions behind it to sort of process the material together with the booklets. And I hope that's what I hope that's going all right. You guys finding that helpful, or how's that going? The questions behind the lectures. Are you guys what
Good.
goes all right? Are you guys watching the videos, or are you doing the questions directly?
Oh,
Nah, the videos be helping. I ain't gonna lie.
You using the videos or
I
not?
agree.
You said,
Videos are really good.
oh, good.
Yeah, I really enjoy the videos. I feel like they're super, super helpful.
Oh, good. I'm glad I put them up. First I was like, no, that's it's like what, not doing it right or so, but because we talk about it, it really, I think it's. I'm glad you guys appreciate it. I'm sorry I don't have transcripts of everything. That's some people like transcripts of certain things, but these days there's also apps now that you can feed the videos in, and it does it for you as well directly. If that's coming up, that came up in some emails. Sorry, I brought that up. So that's great. I'm glad the videos help. So keep that going, and I think once you work your way through this material this way, and then you integrate it with then have the test review of this first part of the class, and then later we have label coloring, then that gets you the information quite well processed, and then we integrate it with these different exercises and activities. And so this week on that front, I have a couple more concept understandings, and I'm concepts understanding on this one. It's just 2 questions. We just go, well, not just, it's still an important, and these are important parts. But I want you to look at protein synthesis a little bit more succinctly, or step by step, how that's done, because that's very interesting, and we need to know about it. And then mitosis is a cell division, how the cells divide and then multiply that way. And that's also sort of a step-by-step process, and that I want you to sort of spell out a little, or make a little video about it, or somehow have a discussion, interact with each other, that there's kind of a conversation around those topics. And then after that, that's it. We're no more these understanding concept discussions. We're shifting gear then to coloring and labeling activities, and muscle and bone, kinesthetic in the classroom. The way I bring in the kinesthetic this chapter, in the cytology chapter, the cells, is by, especially in the pandemic, but I keep it because it's been proven to be pretty helpful, by making a cell model out of household or kitchen food type items that sort of either visually or functionally sort of represent what you, or have a connection to you. Easy, lots of leeway here. Like, for example, you can consider sugar is something that gives you energy, that could be part of the part of the cell that makes the energy, or a battery could do that, or so. And you have an activity where I want you to, after you go through the cell chapter, you have these structures in your you understand these structures. I want to have these structures represented with a physical part, or a couple of them. Like, you might, the question came up, can I draw? And I said, like, no, you can't draw, maybe a couple of them or so, if you don't find anything. But the point really is, by having a kinesthetic connection to those names, and then make a list with a legend that lists briefly what those are called, what they represent, what they're called, and what those different parts do for the cell. Like the ribosomes make protein, for example, or the nucleus is where we have the DNA housed. So that's well protected. And so by doing that, and then you take a picture, you upload it, and then I think we have a little discussion around it. No, we have the discussion then the following week around it. So this first is doing that and uploading that with a legend. So that's a little bit of a project. Don't put a little bit of time into it, but don't go too deep into the how I do it right or wrong. I have a broad way of accepting things on that, because it's really about learning those terms more readily, and bringing something kinesthetic in is always has proven very helpful, even though this thing I got from elementary school. But if you have kids, hey, it's good way to engage the kids. And then the other thing on this week is just the food label analysis we did. I'm going to get to grading those soon. And then we have a little discussion around that. If you have been in the class, that discussion, you get points automatically, although I need make sure I do that, because I spaced that out after class last week. So you don't have to do this discussion. But if you haven't been in the classroom, which if you haven't, make sure you start coming, because it is, it's not optional anymore from we have to take role and stuff's perspective. But if you have been, you don't have to do this discussion part. But I listed it because not everybody has been in the house. Okay, and then we finish up with the questions and tips on the Padlet, and make sure there again, always in the post, put your name. So unfortunately, I haven't figured out this semester why we can't sign in and log in anymore. We may have to phase out of that structure and do something else instead. But with that, I pretty much have said what I need to say about the week. Have you any questions on your end?
I do. Do we have to memorize the size of the cell and how many cells in the human body?
No. In terms of, let me put this back up. I shouldn't have closed it in yet. In terms of that, you look right here. Well, at first, the reason why I can say no is because you don't have to memorize anything. You have an open book test. And everything you need to know about the cell is on this list. That's all that is. It's not a small list, but it's all defined. And it's all spelled out. So it's all what's on this list is what's on the test. No more data points than that. And I'm generally not a person to use numbers because I can't visualize it anyway. It's too small. It's just it's just a number. I mean, it is interesting to see that cells can be very small and quite large, and we can see them with the naked eye. But it's still so small that it's really hard to make sense out of that. All right. Have a good week. Go back enjoying Labor Day.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.